And welcome back to the Radio Gamescast. As always, I am your host, Ryan. I'm joined today by my lovely cohort of co-hosts, Brett,
Hello.
Alex,
Hi.
and Wyatt.
Hello.
Glad you had to follow that up.
I'm not.
Even trying to be weird that time. I just stumbled.
I thought you were trying to go with a like swoop in the middle. You know, a nice little
No.
cartoon villain voice or something. All right. Well, on that note, it's episode 130. We haven't done a regular formatted episode of the show in a while, so we're going to do a regular formatted episode because we've had some kerfuffles this week
Many
in the games
kerfuffles.
industry.
What I was
Welcome
about to say,
welcome to the 001 Radio Kerfuffle Hour.
yeah, we're about to do a normally formatted episode, which unfortunately means we have to cover news.
Yep, we got some kerfuffles to talk about, and then we're going to talk about hidden gems and games that we didn't think we'd like that we liked.
Oh,
So
thank God.
we'll end with some positive after this stormy wave of nothing but bad news.
Yeah, seriously.
It's been that kind of week. All right, so let's get the big one out of the way first. The biggest, I think, not games industry, but games industry adjacent news right now is the Rooster Teeth got another person throwing a twit longer out about how awful they
Yeah.
were to them at work, and it's really, really bad.
It's pretty condemning.
It is. This is like by far the worst thing I think I've read about Rooster Teeth, and it is awful. Like it's the sort of thing. We'll give an abbreviated version of this.
What I read so far was crunch culture, I believe. That's
It gets worse.
Probably
It gets
fairly the
much
Worse in
worse.
my opinion, at least, depending on what issues you hold to be more important than others. But God, it's like insulting.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's truly bad. This is all coming from Caden, who is a member of RT that at least by the time that Caden was part of the team, I was not watching RT anymore. It's been a long time. But yeah, there's been a number of issues. The quick fire gist of the like HR issues, not even talking about the personal issues that we'll get to in a second, but the HR issues is vastly underpaying people, labeling jobs content creation because that means they don't have to pay you separately for VO work
Oh no.
or video presence or other things that you weren't originally told you'd be doing.
Glad
That's
this
a
is
big
not going
one.
to be a running theme for this episode, and we'll only be hearing about that once.
Yeah. It's rough. That's a big one. And it's not like a small amount. It's like this person was making 40K in LA. You can't live in LA on 40K.
That's not livable.
Like, no way. Even with roommates, that is unlivable. Their job was saved because of COVID, meaning they went remote. And of course, their job at the time was working from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. editing videos on a position that they were told was going to be a like producer and podcast position where they have a little bit more creative control. Absolutely untrue. Caden was very much lied to and essentially gaslit for multiple years. Not good. We don't have any names of who did this because obviously no witch hunting, not a good thing to do. But this is pretty pointedly at the founders of the company and people around the founders. So, yeah, that's real bad. A good way to tell is Caden was called... I'm going to use a nickname that is now considered offensive, just so people know that it is offensive. It's Fugs.
Yes.
That was the nickname that they were called constantly in videos. That was an abbreviation for a slur. So
you can put two and two together in your head.
Have the brain cell,
very,
you'll know what they're talking about.
very, very extremely
or you can look up
insulting
the tweet
bad
logger
word.
and read Caden's words yourself and get a look at it. It is awful. It is patently awful. And in the storm of this, there have since been videos by Alana Pierce, Ellie Main, who used to write for Rooster Teeth, have also sent big things out about how awful it was to work there and how even if they weren't having an awful time, Ellie Main's tweet was she went to HR and asked why she wasn't being paid as much as the guys doing the same job and was told sometimes you don't get paid what you're worth.
That's a valid reason. Oh my God. So hang on a second. Right. So, I'm not trying to avoid any of the horrible issues here. What are you calling a twit longer?
Twit longer is like you a thing you link on Twitter to post longer things.
Oh.
When you have a rant.
Yeah,
yes.
it's rant. When you hear someone
You
has
have
a
a
Twit
rant that
longer, it's
goes-
either a rant or like a video game review or something.
You know,
It's one of
I
those two things.
thank God every day I don't know many things about Twitter.
Yeah,
you have something that goes beyond the character limit of Twitter, you make a Twit longer.
yeah, it's bad all around, and it really sucks. That's what this is. It sucks big time, and it's especially because you can go back and watch videos that Caden was in and hear them refer to them by that nickname, and it's horrible. It's truly rough, bad all around. I don't think there's a broad thing on this. Rooster Teeth has since released a statement as of a few minutes ago.
And almost no one has taken it seriously.
Okay,
All
let's
the
see,
replies are like,
is it-
whatever, shut up.
I was gonna say, is it genuine? Are they getting ratioed, or is it a copy and paste? Oh,
It
we're
reads
sorry,
very,
like,
very businessy, very like.
so the
like,
worst response
kind
to
of
do all
vague.
around.
It's a corporate response.
Yeah. Not that there really is like a good one, especially in the
No,
state that Rooster Teeth is in by now. This
Yes,
is
but
this whole situation is pretty condemning in that
in
I don't really
general,
think there's
a corporate
there's a way to
response
come
is
back.
never a good response for
No.
anything in any
Yeah.
situation ever.
I'm just saying that there's not really a way they could handle it better other than just not having
at
done
least
the
they
horrible
have a
thing.
response.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't read it. I don't really plan to read it because I don't think
Doesn't
there's
matter.
a way that Rooster Teeth looks good in this. And yeah, I think the people that are impressive in Rooster Teeth have all gone off to do their own things and be very impressive. This is also coming right after Matt Bragg, someone who has been consistently lauded as an extremely good member of the company, was moved to part-time against his will.
Huh?
Because they were going to fire him either way, and so at least now he's
Oh.
still part-time and gets to make videos.
Ugh.
Truly horrible.
Those are
Weird.
some real, absolutely sickening business practices.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I say practices because they've practiced them more than once.
it's very strange. It's not a good list of things that have been happening. This is followed by some other news. If you want to read more about the Rooster Teeth stuff, I encourage you to look it up on yourself. There are videos by people who have worked at Rooster Teeth that will inform you a lot more than we will. But yeah, it is generally bad. Moving on, G4 TV has been shut down.
What's G4 TV?
So
Such
G4
a
TV
loss.
G4 TV in the like early to mid 2000s, maybe a little bit past that, like 2010s. I never really watched the beginning G4, but I know a lot of people really liked it. It was a video game TV show where people talked about video games, that did reviews, did fun segments. Old G4 is still kind of entertaining if you go watch some episodes of it. It's a fun show about older games. Good time.
Big draw, at least for me, because I caught it whenever I could. You know, I never like watched it religiously or anything, but I think the draw for me and a lot of people was that I just liked Adam Sessler, and I liked hearing him talk about video games. Maybe not so much anymore, but I used to.
He wasn't as jaded yet.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah.
Yep. So G4 TV got revived about a year and a half ago, I think, and has since been running on TV. There's been some cool stuff with it. Yeah, there's been some cool stuff, like Xavier Woods makes appearances consistently, which is fun from the gamer wrestler and shows up, but he's a good bean. It's always fun to watch him. But aside from that, it's really kind of been pretty uneventful. And
well, the whole thing was kind of like the whole thing was kind of a mess from the get-go, just with how they launched everything.
Yeah, it didn't have an identity. It had very low production value, which is, you'd think the benefit of being a TV show is you have higher production value. This could have been a YouTube show with very little changes.
I know literally that Scott the Woz just like has his videos on G4 with almost no changes. Like they are just almost the same videos. Like, oh, are you going to be making new content? And he came out and he's like, no, it's just, I just got to deal with them to put my stuff on TV now. And you could for a while watch Scott the Woz videos on your television screen on cable. I guess.
Quality,
No, they're good videos, but you could just watch them anytime, anywhere else.
bizarre.
What an era we live in! What an era!
Because I don't think correct me if I'm wrong. We're in our early 20s, most of us, and it is a point of like, I don't think anyone in our generation watches TV.
No,
Unless you're
Yeah.
watching sports, you don't use the TV.
Yeah, no, it's all streaming. Wow.
All streaming. I have used a TV like a couple of times this year. Every single time it has been to plug my Nintendo Switch into a dock to play games with people.
I mean, I have channels that
Free.
that just kind of come free with the TV that I got.
Oh yeah, I used cable on an airplane to watch wrestling one time.
yeah.
Every time I walk past a TV that's on, there's some horrific news thing going on, so it's just sort of turned me off
Yeah.
to it.
So I think it's just a disconnect. The audience is not there for this. I think you could see a lot of success with a show like this, but you'd have to do it in a more modern platform. So I hesitate to say Twitch because I think Twitch, if you're not a already very well-known name, you're not gonna break onto Twitch in a big way
Yeah.
without some major strokes of luck or something. It's not a platform that is open anymore. But imagine Google buying them up for YouTube TV or something and doing like a YouTube deal for YouTube streaming to get YouTube streaming more popular. That could work. I think there could be a legitimate push to that, with the amount of issues people have had with Twitch recently. But I don't know.
You're putting a lot of trust into Google to do something video game
Oh,
related.
I
though,
am.
Ryan.
They
Speaking
did just
of
kill
issues,
Stadia, so
They did.
Speaking of issues with Twitch, are we also going to talk on the live event things that have been going on?
what live event things happened this time?
Not live event, the in person thing,
The Twitch.
I did see that
The foam
Amaranth
pit.
broke her
The foam
spine.
Yes.
Was it
Literally
Amaranth,
horrible.
too?
Was it Amaranth?
Someone.
It was someone.
I don't know who it was. Some femoid jumped into the ball pit that was only, I think, a foot deep with a cement bottom. And
Oh, no.
Which-
that's not-
Okay,
Which
it was
is
Adriana
absolutely
Chechik.
horrendous.
That's who it was. She's in that circle of Amaranth type streamer that I was like, all right, I'll throw that name out because that's the one person I know the name of. But yeah, she broke her back and is likely going to have long-term injuries because they put a
lifelong.
foam pit with no foam, just concrete and a couple of foam squares.
Not
on
even
the
a
top.
pit, really. It was far
Apparently-
too shallow.
Yeah, it was
apparently
floor level.
She's not the only person to have sustained injuries from that. Like,
Does not surprise
Oh,
me.
someone-
ball pit. I think
yeah.
someone
broke
like
an ankle as well, or
something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Bonkers. They didn't even do like a safety mat. There was no mat underneath. Like if you just
Oh,
had
yeah,
a
no.
mat, people wouldn't be breaking bones.
Well, and
It-
even
two foam
beyond
blocks,
that,
concrete.
they didn't shut down that whole
Yeah, they
like,
didn't.
thing after this poor woman broke her back. Like,
that is gonna get them. This lawsuit is gonna pay a lot of
Yeah.
money.
Oh, yeah.
Because
My-
there's
which she is
no-
going to need because this is like a lifelong
yeah.
thing that more
yeah.
surgeries are going to be needed. She's already had 2 surgeries.
My-
and 4 needed for
My favorite part about this, in a dark humor way, is if you watch the video of it happening, which like no one, it's not like a Mortal Kombat execution, blood isn't everywhere. It's just you can kind of like see it happen, and it's a little sickening. But like if you listen to the commentator lady while it's happening,
Yeah.
it's like oh she lives in the pit now. Oh okay, on to the next one. It's just like I know you don't know what just happened. But that's gonna look really bad in about
It's-
like 5 minutes.
There's some dark humor that comes
So-
with hindsight.
It's just like, oh my god, like there's no like, oh my god, are you okay? Literally just trying to
"No,
make
she's
jokes about it.
fine.
It's
She'll be
like,
fine.
God, it's so embarrassing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just really. This has been a week of very little care being put into things that need a lot of care, and that's a real bad thing. Ooh, very rough. All right, we have more bad news to talk about.
Yay!
It doesn't end.
It
You know, I was
doesn't
having a
stop.
good day. I was having a good fun day.
No,
And then
you
I was like,
weren't,
oh
don't
wait,
lie.
we have a big news section to get through today. Never mind, we're just gonna
Here,
cap.
we'll temper the bad with one maybe good thing. I don't know. Konami has said the latest thing for Silent Hill is going to be revealed next Wednesday, or this
Huh.
Wednesday actually.
It's that
So-
they're canceling the series.
I
I
my
have very little
expectations
care for this.
my expectations are below what the camera will show.
Not because I don't like Silent Hill. I like Silent Hill very much, but
Oh,
because Konami has negative.
It's a-
They don't even have a reputation right now. They've just done.
They
nothing.
literally don't. Yeah. They've regained 2% of it with the Suikoden stuff or whatever. That's cool. It's not out yet, so it could be garbage ports or whatever. Nobody knows how they play.
Yeah.
$20. It's either a pachinko machine or NFT adjacent.
I was
Well,
about to
I
say,
was-
I'm not convinced that it's not
No.
some sort of pachinko machine.
No, yeah,
Oh,
my
no.
two predictions are that it will either be something pachinko or worthless mobile game related,
I absolutely
or-
can believe this is a mobile game.
or it's just gonna be some literally abandoned-esque trailer that just shows nothing, doesn't even tell you what it is. Even after watching it, you're not sure if it's a
You're
game.
not even sure if it's a
or
game
if it's something else.
show.
Exactly. Some black screen with Pyramid Head's great knife dragging across the ground.
What
Sound
if they
effect
announced
for 5
Silent Hill
seconds.
Dead by Daylight? That's all it is.
Again? Again?
I know. Again.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Our expectations are through the roof, clearly.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, at least this
Absolutely.
announcement can't make the games industry worse. Maybe it can make my opinion of Konami worse, but I really don't.
That's
Don't
true.
don't jinx it, please.
All right. Well, the other bit of bad news we have is that some Bayonetta 3 drama's been going down. So a while back, Jennifer Hale was listed as the VA for Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3, which is odd because Helena Taylor has been the VA for Bayonetta in the past 2 games. This sparked a ton of internet sleuthing where people were like, oh, it's probably just because there's going to be 2 Bayonettas in this game, which, to be clear, is not a thing that hasn't happened before in the other Bayonetta games. So it's not that out of left field. Actually, it's because they only offered Helena Taylor $4,000 to voice an entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like theft.
I knew it
Ryan,
wasn't
that
much.
sounds
I
like
didn't know
theft.
the exact amount until
And
this
that
moment.
was the second offer, the higher offer.
Yeah. Their
Yeah.
final
At
offer.
first, they asked her less.
Which $4,000 for her, what I understand, is already barely 2 months' rent for her current living situation, which is man, that's
This
it's
would
not
be 1 month of rent in a LA apartment.
oh
if
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Maybe a little bit more, but not much at all. For a whole game that is likely going to be a process of redoing lines and whatnot afterwards, and
even
It's just
Even-
a little indie game. It's okay. They don't have the money.
even for someone that makes $13.50 an hour throwing raw fish into a bowl, that's not great. That's not very. That's bad.
No.
yeah, that's a rough number. And apparently the going rate of VA work, this would be maybe 20 hours of VA work, which comes out to about $200 an hour, which is not that crazy when you're paying for an actor. And this would not be a 20-hour job. This would be a
No.
full-time job for many weeks, most likely.
Well, and not even let's not even mention the fact that half of Bayonetta's appeal is that character. People fell in love with that character, right?
Yes.
So she's a very important part of the Bayonetta formula.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
would be a bit like having Solid Snake and all of these
I knew I was
Metal
waiting
Gear
for it.
games,
Oh my
and then just changing the
God.
voice actor last minute. It would be
Yeah.
something crazy oh.
And when something like this does happen, there's never very, very little opportunity for reconciliation or whatever. From what I understand, David Hayter, Solid Snake, understandably is just I still don't know why Kojima did that to me, but I don't like him, and it's been years since MGS5. It's
The bridge has been burned. That's
that's the biggest middle finger you
It's-
can receive as a voice actor for
it's
a
the
well-known
same-
character.
It's the same hubbub for all of these Modern Warfare remakes, right? They didn't get the original voice actors for Soap or Price or anyone. They also didn't get the original voice actors for Woods and
Oh my God! What?
and Mason for Cold War and stuff like that. I don't know why this is a trend now, but
Yeah.
here we are.
A lot of the
Yeah.
time too with bigger voice actors that are like the English cast for the original Evangelion dub or whatever. They're in other things. The people that voice the COD characters are in other things. Bayonetta's voice actress, I don't actually think does anything else besides Bayonetta. Same David Hayter, he's done other things, but he's just mostly like the thing that they're known for. They're not like the
Yeah.
Troy Bakers or the Steve Blums that are in like everything. Like sometimes his voice actors are just like that's their thing. And then like,
Oops, all Nolan North.
yeah, Kojima just decides to, be a star screwer and get someone else. And when Netflix decides to redub the entirety of Evangelion without asking the whole original English cast, it's just like, why do this? It's just weird. And you would imagine, Hideki Kamiya, Mr. Platinum Man himself, people have gone to him on Twitter to just ask why, and he blocked so many people so quickly that Twitter auto-flagged his account as a bot and banned
suspended
him.
They suspended
Yes.
him, and he has since deleted his Twitter account.
Mm-hmm. Which this is no surprise for his character. It used to be the haha funny joke that he would literally block people for asking him something in English, which is a lot less funny by now because now it's just another thing on the list of things that make him
It
look
used
like
to
an
be a funny
asshole.
thing because people would make jokes about like speed running getting blocked by Kamiya on Twitter
Yeah,
or something like that, where it was treated as a joke, and Kamiya would like cooperate with people doing like YouTube videos, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll unblock you so you can get blocked again." Video or something. So
That's funny. Oh my
it was funny before. Now it's not so funny because he's now just blocking anyone who asks him about the situation. Which, maybe a comment on this would be a good thing to do, because
I think blocking itself is a comment.
yeah, well, his comment originally was
away.
that there was some sort of lie in this video. We have no indication if that's true at all, and I'm inclined to not side with Kamiya on this.
Blocking makes me doubt it.
If you're gonna rebuttal things like this, you gotta have the receipts. You gotta have the proof. And if you walk up, if someone accuses you of something and you walk up and you've got no ammunition, you got nothing to work with, who's gonna believe you?
Yeah, and Helena Taylor, as of now, basically only voices Bayonetta. She did some other stuff in the past. She did a Valkyrie profile character and a character in the Golden Compass video game, but hasn't done a lot of other video game voice acting.
Illustrious.
Yeah, so this is just a weird situation, and the big thing is it's not about the money, because Jennifer Hale is a unionized voice actor. She is making a lot more than $4,000 almost guaranteed. The only way I could possibly see her not making that much money is in some situation where she already has enough and is just like, oh, this would be a fun role to do when she saw the offer. But that makes very little sense, especially because it's a character that already had a voice actress, and so you'd think there might have been some communication of like, hey, is there something weird going on here? Yeah, lots of weird stuff in the situation that no one quite knows. I don't think Jennifer Hale's a bad VA. I think she's quite good, but she's not Bayonetta.
Oh, never.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
this is a
pointing out situation.
Worth pointing out also that double this isn't about the money, because at least with the amount of evidence we have right now, I don't see what Helena Taylor would be getting out of this at all, because in her little video that she made, she was like, hey, literally just take the money you would be spending on Bayonetta 3 and just donate it to charity, because they did it bad and they don't deserve it. Don't donate it to me because I'm so selfish. Donate it to charity. So
yeah,
that I don't know.
I'm sure she doesn't need it because she doesn't do
yeah.
VA work for her main job, from what I can tell, because she's only voiced like 3 games in the past 10 years. So I assume she has another job that she primarily does.
It's crazy to me because in these situations, like not ideally, but like in these situations, it's like it's usually should be the studio being like, oh, please come back and voice this character that you are known for voicing and that everyone loves. Like it should be the studio that's clamoring for the voice act, not the other way around.
Should be.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah. It's very crazy to me that this has escalated to this point. I I think the Metal Gear comparison is really the closest thing to what this probably is. But in Metal Gear, at least it felt a bit more like a creative choice because it had been so long between the two games. They were doing a very different version of the character, so I can at least like kind of justify the creative decision, even if I don't like it. Like, I don't have to like it to see the logic there. This I just don't get.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Understand. I don't know why they would want Jennifer Hale over Helena Taylor. If there was some logistical reason that it was just not possible. Because in any scenario like that, the professional thing to do would have just been, hey, we can't work on this together because of some whatever X reason is. We really like your work, but we just have to go with someone else for this, which I think Helena Taylor would have been fine with. Just a proper
professional communication.
professional treatment of the situation.
Yeah.
Not basically getting her to refuse the job by offering her far below market rates for anything like that. So, really, truly confusing thing to have happened, and I'm very sad.
Why?
Because Bayonetta 3 is a game I'm very much looking forward to. So, oof. There have since been calls for Platinum to delay the game and revoice Bayonetta's lines with Helena Taylor. Which, man, I'd be okay with that.
If only. I don't know how likely that is.
No, it's not.
No way. And I also would feel bad for Jennifer Hale, because also Jennifer Hale is just getting bad shafted in this situation too, because she presumably didn't know about most of this whenever she signed her contract a year ago, because none of this information was public. So all she probably got was, oh, we're not going with Helena for this role, so we'll ask you to do it.
But like you
And
said,
a job is a job.
She's an experienced, like, talented voice actor. Like, she's probably going to do a good job. It's just not, you know, it's just not the pick that people are used to, and that's not her fault. It's just that's the way things are, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's really the thing that gets me. It just is bizarre. I think they just have really made a bad decision here compared to any other decision they could have made. All right. That's the bad news this week, unless there's something I'm forgetting about.
This isn't bad news, but Wyatt, do you have more foam panels on your wall than usual?
No,
They might just, I think they got moved around a couple weeks ago.
no, they haven't been moved around at all. I haven't touched them in like a couple
Well,
months.
you moved them a while back, but then you were not on the podcast for a while, so we haven't
That's
seen
true.
them in the new orientation for very
That's true.
long.
Do we want to talk about the other kerfuffle, the frame rate kerfuffle?
Yeah.
Oh, we should mention
This
that
is
is
yes,
frame rate kerfuffle.
absolutely.
further kerfuffling has been.
That is why I
discovered.
ask, because I will inevitably forget something, even though they're on a list in front of me.
It's all good. Do you want to take the reins, or do you want me to
Go for it, Wyatt. You had
All right.
the trigger. You got the neon lights. It's fitting.
All right. Well, Arkham. What's it called? Gotham Knights.
See, even we get
funny,
confused.
funny,
about
not
this.
Batman.
A game that everyone is looking forward to, and there is no apprehension about whatsoever.
Never.
Certainly
and
no bad
absolutely-
feelings already with, pre-order bonuses.
No,
at all
and like
that
it
are,
totally is not completely confusing on whether it's part of another series or not. It isn't living in another series shadow. Anyway, this game is coming out relatively soon. I don't remember the release date off the top of my head.
End
but
of
it's
this month.
End of this month. And we recently learned that on consoles, the game is getting a 30 frame per second cap on all platforms.
No
when
performance
asked-
mode.
No performance mode. No other graphical modes whatsoever. Just 30 frames per second. Even on PS5 and Xbox Series X, S, whatever. 30 frames per second. When asked why this was, their reasoning was that they wanted the frame rate to remain consistent among all console platforms when in multiplayer. Which is by far the stupidest reason I have ever heard for a company giving an excuse that their game needs to be in 30 frames per second.
And there have been some bad ones in the past. There's
the classic.
Yeah, and
what
here
is it,
I'll read the
cinematic
statement
30 or
out so
thematic
that we
30 or
have a
whatever.
direct quote to work off of.
I feel like that's a lie already.
So a developer
Oh.
a developer wrote in the official Discord. This is one of the executive producers of Gotham Knights. But I know many of you are wondering about the availability of a performance mode for Gotham Knights on consoles. Due to the type of features we have in our game, like providing a fully untethered co-op experience in our highly detailed open world, it's not as straightforward as lowering the resolution and getting a higher FPS. For this reason, our game does not have a performance quality toggle option and will run at 30 FPS on consoles.
Skill issue.
I don't understand this.
Nope.
How absolutely borked must your engine be that Elden freaking Ring can have multiplayer co-op across like every like just console and PC, whatever generation or whatever, and still just not have this problem. And From Software's engines are notoriously just absolute, just angel hair pasta. It's just insane. How is your engine worse? I don't understand.
I don't
Listen, if
Are you saying that they
Cyberpunk
boiled the server
2077
wires in hot water, or that they're messy?
Yes.
If Cyberpunk 2077 can run at above 30 frames per second on PS5, you can get Gotham Knights to do it. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. Even when Cyberpunk first launched in the terrible, awful, crap
No good
state
or
that it
bad
was,
state.
if you played a PS4 version on a PS5, you got like in the range of 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Even in its terrible launch state, Cyberpunk still ran better than your game that
And
that
I
comes
think the
out
better
almost 3
comparison
years
here is
later.
Arkham Knight. Look at screenshots of the two games and video of the two games side by side. Arkham Knight often looks better
Yes.
and runs better. So it's incredibly confusing to me why there's no improvement here. And I think the logic that this statement says to me is that this is not about performance concerns. Even though it probably is. There's probably some performance reason this isn't happening. Because on PC, you can play it on 60. So
Even within that post, he made it seem like it was kind of a performance thing, though, to be honest.
well, he said
Like,
it's
the way
it's
he
not
phrased
as
it.
simple as lowering resolution, so we don't have a performance toggle option. So the way that I read this is probably language hinting to the fact that some back-end thing they have needs to be running at a consistent frame rate to get information displayed correctly.
We
I don't
ran into
know-
this problem where if you go up to 60 frames per second, our anti-cheat automatically flags you.
This is the same as me. So Destiny 2 also has a problem like this that's been mostly resolved, but there's a couple small issues still happening of it where if your frame rate is above 60 and certain mechanics hit you, you take more damage.
Yes.
It's
The
not
Dark
many
Souls
things.
2 weapons.
There's a small number of things that do this, but they are things that will just insta-kill you if you get hit that are not supposed to, which is really bad, but at least they've fixed a few of them and are hopefully going to fix the rest. This is a launching game with 30 frame rate lock on modern consoles, and I think there have only been like 2 other games maybe that have had 30 FPS locks on next gen.
And what's happening, like what this tells me is that in like code speak, they're tying a lot of their code to frame rate, or at least they're updating every frame, which you only want to do for very specific things.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you do not want your code locked to frame rate.
Yeah, you only ever want that to be for like graphical related things. Nothing
So
that
does
because
should
then you
this-
have to
be
lock it.
physics.
Because then you have to lock it to your frame rate, and you can't have it go. You can't have it go above or below, or your
does-
entire code stops working properly.
Does this hint at a mechanic in the game that they haven't talked about, or a
It wouldn't be
problem
worth
that
it.
would
Because
come
any
into
logic
the
like
game?
that I think about then gets broken as soon as I think about the PC version has 60 FPS.
Yeah.
So what I think this has to be is they need something to run at a locked frame rate that is either 30 or 60 to get this to happen. I don't know, maybe that'll get broken. Maybe the PC version is unlocked and can run as high as you want, and for some reason this is only a console limitation, at which point it is 100% a performance thing. So, yeah, I'm not certain what's going on here. I think this is just very strange and doesn't make any sense. It launches like another co-op mode coming next month and whatnot, but this is really confusing to me. This is a sad thing that I don't fully get, especially because the co-op's only 2-player. So
Oh, really?
Ideally, there would be less moving components to have to deal with.
That means
There's a
this also
4-player co-op mode coming, but the 2-player mode is what it's
Oh,
launching
okay.
with.
and
You know,
this
you
also
love it
means
when
that
you see games shipping unfinished.
this also means that it's going to be affecting people who don't want to do co-op and just want to play the game on
Yeah.
their own. If it's for multiplayer reasons,
Which is
those
tons of
people are
people,
also
'cause these
being
are-
affected.
Even if it's not related at all, not the same developers to the old Arkham games, the people that like the old Arkham games are gonna want to get this game. Like, they're the people that are your audience for this. And so it not having things that those games had and not having... I don't know. There's a lot of things with this game that are rubbing me the wrong way. There's stuff like it doesn't have a counter button. I don't like that. That's like the
What?
thing that Arkham games did. This is this is the Batman in video game form thing. If you're the one franchise that should always have a counter button now is Batman, and yet we
But
don't.
moving-
have it.
But Ryan,
moving
this isn't Batman
backwards.
Arkham. But Ryan, this isn't Batman Arkham, so they can't do the exact same thing.
Well, then
They're
I'll
just gonna get
happily
rid of
play Suicide
no,
Squad.
no,
Success.
Ryan, you don't understand. They're gonna they have to make it different from Arkham, which means they're gonna take out all of the things that made Arkham good, and then just push the game out, and then it's its own thing.
I'm so
Perfect
confused
logic.
Very
about this game
cool.
too, because I do think this game will likely actually be a fun time with a co-op partner or something for
Anything
a good amount of
is.
time. But
I'm not convinced.
as soon as I think about that, I'm like, well, we could just go play like a better co-op game. Hell, I'll
Yeah.
just play It Takes Two again. Like,
Listen,
I am so
Darktide.
confused why this exists.
Darktide comes out at the end of next month. That's probably going to be a better co-op experience with your buddies, even though that's a very different game. I'm just saying. Like,
Crazy times. All right, well, that's the news. We've talked about the news that is at least pressing for this week. If we missed anything, we'll mention it next time. Oof. I'm exhausted after all the bad. So let's talk about some games that maybe were good. Yeah?
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe we're good.
Oh,
some fun little gems that you found, or some games you didn't think you would like. And I'm actually going to kickstart us while you guys have some time to think with a game that Wyatt and I started today. Because Wyatt, I bounced off of Resident Evil 2. I'm looking at the times that I've launched this game 6 times. I've played the opening of this game 6 times and never gone past that. For some reason.
Where would you always
I
stop?
don't know why.
Where would you always stop?
I would always stop like 20 minutes after getting into the police station.
Interesting.
huh.
I don't know why.
Interesting.
Every time. Without
Maybe just
fail.
other games were coming out. Like,
No, I do know the
Interesting.
reason. The reason consistently was the save system. Because you had to come back to the ribbon thing and do your little typing. And Resident Evil has a bit of a habit of not necessarily letting you save when you want to, which I understand in a horror context, but when it's on PC and not a console that I can put in sleep mode, it becomes aggravating because if I need to use the computer for something else, I now have to play the game until I find a save, or I have to accept that I'm losing progress. And the thing that fixed it for me is actually Resident Evil 2 crashed about 30 minutes after you got off the call, Wyatt. And then I rebooted the game, and it had auto-saved without telling me.
Wow.
it does that?
It auto-saved. It auto-saves, and you probably never know if it doesn't crash. But it auto-saved, and I didn't lose any progress. And I was like...
Magical.
Oh, no.
Absolutely magical.
all the stress
Wow.
then of the losing a bunch of progress due to the save system is gone. I'm like, okay. If I lose progress,
Wow.
it's probably only going to be a few minutes at a time. Because it clearly auto-saved after I interacted with a thing, so I'm good.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've been having a good time with it this time. It's a
I-
franchise that I've played Zero a bit. Never finished it. I played 1 through, but mostly due to sheer force of will.
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
Mostly not due to any issue of the game, but just because even the remake for that game is very old.
It's pretty
So,
demanding mechanically.
It is demanding, and that one has the same save issue, but it doesn't autosave and is far worse. And you have a consumable item you need to use to save. Which, that combination of things makes it really
Oh.
hard to play on a computer when you need to use the computer for something else at random times. So, One was very frustrating to play through. Two, not having that issue.
Mhm.
The inventory management is finicky. I kind of like that it's finicky. The system that I tend to hate in games. I don't like it in most games that it's in. I'm not a fan of it in stuff like RPGs. But in a horror context, I think I get it. I think I understand what it's supposed to do. And Wyatt and I were talking earlier and mentioned stuff like, well, what if they didn't include your weapons or didn't include your key items in this? And I honestly think that wouldn't fix any problems. I think what I've come to after playing it for this long now, because I am now much further in the game. I've played it the whole day. I think I'm probably about an hour away from finishing Leon's story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's very good. I think the inventory system, combining the fact that you need to have weapons stored in it and your key items and all of your consumables and your ammo and all of this other stuff, I think means you're really actively making decisions about what you need to carry with you. And it gets really tense because you will fill up your inventory, and then the next room you go into will have a storage chest.
Oh,
And you get the
Welcome-
perfect peak
Welcome to
of
survival
design,
horror,
because they
Ryan.
know exactly what is in between you and the other thing. Like, there's not ever any more items, unless there are, I think, express cases where if you run out of ammo by a boss fight, more ammo will spawn around the boss fight, so you aren't ever
Makes
locked
sense.
out of it. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I was told earlier, because I did look it up after I got through a boss, and was like, what happens if you don't have any ammo here? And the answer I found was that generally they have ammo that you can find if you need it at certain places. But yeah, I found it to work really well for the whole game. I wonder how it's going to work on the second playthrough, because this is one of those games you play twice. So I'm not certain. I don't know if I'm going to be as attached to it after I've kind of seen the loop through once. But I get it.
It works very much on like I don't really know what I'm doing. I have to figure these things out. But as soon as you know where this item is to do this puzzle, where this item is to do this
Yeah.
puzzle, I feel like it's a lot less fun, and you just be running from point to point.
If you ever just want to see the story and you really just don't want to interact with it, I think that's when it's going to frustrate you to no end.
Mm.
But there's an assisted mode for that.
Yeah, there's an assisted mode for that makes it a little easier. The other thing is, don't shoot the zombies 90% of the time. Only shoot them when you need to get past them.
See, that's where I'm. That's
Because
not
if you
the
shoot the
game's
zombie,
fault.
they're
This is
gonna
my
get
fault.
back up. They're
I
gonna get
know.
back up the next time you go in the room, unless you got lucky and their head exploded. But if their head didn't explode, they will get back up and they will try to kill you again. So, you better hope that you have enough ammo to deal with it, or you know how to juke them enough that they fall to the ground behind you and you can run past them.
Yeah, there's a lot of really satisfying moments that I had. It's always satisfying to open up a new loop back to the main hall,
Yeah.
so that it's easier to go places. There was a moment where I ran into the first liquor in the whole game. I took one look at it and I was like, nope, and I just walked out. And I didn't want to deal with it. And then maybe 25 minutes or so later, I found the shotgun. I found a bunch of ammo for the shotgun, and I was like, all right, I'm ready. So I walked back in, 2 or 3 shots, and the thing was down. And I was like, all right, that felt pretty good.
Yeah.
That felt pretty good.
It's definitely a game of getting to terms with its systems.
Mhm.
But once you get stuff like the shotgun and you know when you need to use it, stuff like, oh, the dogs will die in one shotgun hit, and they're worth clearing out because they're going to be a nuisance every time you run through an area. The regular zombies, there's too many of them. They can come back through the windows. You can maybe mitigate it with the boards, but you don't have enough to cover everything, so might as well just continue to run past them and not deal with them if you don't have to. And it means you get some cool times going forth, and sometimes they don't work, like Alex saw me doing earlier, and you have to shove a grenade in the zombie's mouth repeatedly so they stop bothering you. Sometimes that's your comeback.
There was a funny moment where I was running around in an office building, or in an office room, and there were 2 zombies that were both chasing me, and I was out of ammo, and I was clambering for ammo. I was like, I need something, and then I pick up a little wheel, and I was like, oh
no.
I had to just run out. But
I can't use this to hit people with.
Oh boy.
The scares are really good too, because they're always keeping you on edge, because you can walk by something 3 or 4 times and nothing happens, and so your guard lowers a lot in that
Oh,
area, and then you
no.
pass by it the 5th time and something happens, something
Oh,
Yeah.
changes,
come on.
and it's terrifying. I remember I walked into this room. It's where the C4 is to get to the last statue, right?
Mhm.
And there's like a pair of arms that are dangling out of the ceiling above you, but you walk by
Yep.
and nothing happens, and you're like, all right, whatever. And then you walk by it again, and then it slides down, so the whole like top half of his body is like hanging out of the
Oh.
ceiling. And I was like, ah.
Yeah,
The
that's
guy or the poor guy stuffed in the locker. It's just like a
Yeah.
dead body, but it
No.
shambles out. And it looks like it's about to attack you, and then it just falls on the ground. And I even wasted a shot reflexively. So I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, and that's I think the strength of the game. Sometimes you will do that because I've certainly done that multiple times. Of like something just appears in front of me and I reflexively take aim and shoot it, and I'm like, oh no, I've just wasted a bullet on something that either isn't alive or I can't kill. So might as well
Oh,
go a different
no.
direction. Which I think is the strength of that. I kind of understand the survival horror appeal now because it's something I never really enjoyed before. Outside of maybe my very, very small child experience of Silent Hill.
and even that the Silent Hill
Yeah.
games are extremely light on the
They're
survival.
not nearly as I think dark on it as Resi is.
Yeah.
So
And this does have, because you and I have talked about survival horror before. We like more like action horror, right? But
Like
this
Dead
allows
Space.
you, yeah, exactly. Dead Space, beautiful. But like this does allow you to fight back. Like I think back to
'cause
like
you do have
Alien
like proper
Isolation.
boss fights in this. I don't know if you've hit one yet, but you have like a proper boss fight
I'm
against
not.
monsters
I'm
that
What do
have
you
like
mean by-
glowy weak spots
Yeah.
that run at
okay.
you, and you have to conserve your ammo for those. And those feel cool. I'm down for that. To have some like cool boss fighty things.
And a lot of people have already talked about this, but oh my god, the game is so pretty. It's like I
very
was
good
I
looking,
was
yeah.
Gorgeous.
swooning over the first 5 minutes. That burger is the best video game burger I've ever seen.
Uh,
The
It's
award
so
for
good,
best
in
video
fact.
game burger goes to.
It was so good, in fact. I hadn't eaten anything today,
Oh,
like
no.
before I started playing. It was so good, in fact, that I then ordered a burger right after that scene because I was
Oh
like,
my
I
god.
want me a
Gotta get the
they
gross,
gotcha.
greasy, disgusting burger that will taste delicious. That tastes even half as good as that burger looks, and we'll be good.
It's one of those things that's like, okay, that's why RE Engine exists. That
Yeah.
is.
And
I'm
it
sure if
runs
you,
so well, Brett.
yeah,
So
If-
well.
if you were to make like some other genre of game in it, I'm sure things would start to fall apart Frostbite style. But that's why you make proprietary engines. That's why there's
Yeah.
the
Because if you know what you're going to be doing with it, then you can nail things down in the
Exactly,
proprietary
yeah.
engine in a way that you just can't with an engine like Unity or Unreal, because
Yeah.
you have access to the source code. You can change things that need to change and tune them exactly to how you want them to be, which is why like there will always be developers that use proprietary engines because it's expensive, it's time consuming, but it does pay off if you get it right. Once your game hits a certain scale where you're like, oh, we need to add random things now that aren't based off of any existing mechanic, we can't easily do something in our data structures that allow for this, we have to like make a new thing. That's maybe when you want to look into something like Unreal, where you can use plugins and things that might be able to make that process easier. I think that's like the Cyberpunk scenario. Is that engine kind of works now, but in Unreal, you could get to that point pretty easily and then continue to add on to it without breaking the game every time something gets added, which I think is the big benefit.
Custom engines, I feel like, are best utilized when you have a very specific vision for your game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
100%.
And Resident Evil definitely fits that bill, and it's what that engine was made for. And damn it, it does it well.
And yeah, there are instances of other engines succeeding like this. Like I know the Decima engine that was used by Horizon and is also used by, I believe, Death Stranding is in the same engine. Very different games. Them using the same engine makes sense because they both have they run very well and they look very pretty.
They're both Strand type
concern.
games.
Yeah, it's Horizon Zero Strand, obviously. What were you saying, Brett?
Oh, I was gonna say it's when you get to kind of multi-dev team sizes, like for EA, it would make sense if Frostbite was actually like a Unity-esque thing of being capable of doing different things, but it's really not.
Battlefield engine.
It's the Battlefield specific engine. It works really well for that. Pretty much anytime it's used to do something else, it kind of works like garbage.
Mhm.
That's when you're in like a very multi-team, very diverse setting like that. That's especially when like something like Unity or Unreal, because I don't want people to think that we're crapping on those nice user friendly ready-made engines,
There's a
because they
place
just
for
have a
both
different
in the
place. Yeah.
industry.
Yeah, they work very well for what they're good for, which is most things, legitimately. But if you have a specific need, a specific use case, go with your own thing makes sense. Especially if you're not indie. I think for an indie developer,
Oh
that
yeah.
is maybe a big ask because it takes a lot of dev time. You need people that are solely working on the engine all the time to have your own engine. But for AAA, I think certainly it makes sense. The studios are still going to have their own engines because we don't want every game to feel the same.
Yep.
All right.
That is important.
Who else has either a hidden gem or a game that you didn't think you would like that you wound up liking, or a mechanic you didn't think you'd like that you wound up
So
liking?
mine is touching a little. It's not touching a little bit. It's talking about the Game Pass game
That's fine.
that I
That's
picked.
totally
All
fine.
right. Because I picked this month's Game Pass game thingy. Uh, almost positive that I wouldn't like it, either because yeah, I felt like I had absolutely no rhythm and sucked at
And
rhythm
you
games
picked Metal
beforehand.
Hellsinger for
Yeah, I picked
reference.
Metal
Yeah.
Hellsinger. And also I wasn't a big fan of metal music. Or as you said, I called it, what was one of the ways that I described it? Screamo?
You called it
Screamo or death
screamo,
metal.
like an 80-year-old.
Hey.
I'm sorry, young Gen Z Brett.
Um oh dear god, that game is fantastic. It's so
Really
good.
good.
It's rhythm heaven for adults. It's magnificent.
Rhythm Heaven for adults.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Rhythm,
it's
Rhythm
so
Heaven for
good.
grown-ups who like vinyl, because the entire menu is themed around records, which is great.
Yeah, and it's all like the band Two Feathers, I think, did the music for them. I will say the
Give them
music
hell.
definitely.
They do have musicians from all sorts of different bands. They did like a thing where they talked about all the different bands that were participating in it.
Yeah. Um. The I will say the music definitely it's better. It feels better to play alongside the music than to just listen to it. It hits different that way.
Well, it's always more satisfying. That's why. I mean, you fellow instrument player. That's why
Yeah.
playing along with music is very fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, and
I'm excited.
it's so easily gets you into the beat of it. There are some there's one level, and I think it's the game goes pretty fast too. It doesn't like overstay its welcome or anything.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't try things too hard. Um, there's one level, and I think it's either one or two before the boss, where I don't know if I was just having like an off day, or the BPM for the level is slightly different than something in any of the other levels. I could not hit anything on beat for like
Mm,
75% of the level, and it was hell.
You got to get used
Other
to it. They're
times,
Stinger.
clearly
yeah,
designed to replay so
yeah.
that you learn it.
I've been replaying levels to the point where it's just like, oh, okay. I thought, first time through, it's like maybe I got lucky and had like 16%. I was, or 16 or 17% of the time that I was in the level, I was on the 16x
Mhm.
multiplier. I've gotten it so that I am above 70 in all of them.
Nice.
They're so fun and easy to replay too, because the levels aren't too long, and it's that flow is addictive in a
Yeah.
very fun way.
I
Yeah.
haven't.
Oh, so
I
good.
I played the demo, but I haven't gotten to the full game yet. I just haven't had time recently. But those dual pistols are
They
so
rock.
much
I
fun.
That and the sword is my favorite weapon
Oh
combo
yeah.
to switch between. Oh, so good. And
I
it's
didn't want to
ultimate
use
too, with
anything
the
else.
with the with the twin or the clone for the pistols. Very very ridiculously handy in boss fights for drawing fire and
Oh yeah.
dealing extra damage when
I
you
didn't
need to
want to use
dodge.
anything else in the demo. Like I usually always like using shotguns in these kind of games, but like those dual pistols really
The shot the shotgun
they do something to me.
the shotgun feels great. The crossbow's fine. those dual pistols.
Yeah, everything feels good. It doesn't feel as good as the pistol.
Yeah, I really like the shotgun. The shotgun, I think, is my go-to. It's very good.
I have
We'll
not
talk more
used
about
the
this
skull
game
in
once we
like
get
since the
to.
tutorial.
Oh, the skull is just for keeping your combo up. That's why that exists.
Okay, I thought
Because
like
it gets
I
you
saw
the
something
combo
else
points
that
out of combat.
I saw something else that the skull also like apparently like weakened or debuffed enemies. Maybe I don't
I
know
have no
how
idea.
accurate
I
that
haven't
is.
seen that so far, but and can confirm the music in that game, Metal Hellsinger, is all composed by Two Feathers, but featuring
Composed
guest
by- okay.
vocalists from a variety of metal bands, including System of a Down, Lamb of God, Black Crown Initiate, and a bunch of others.
I've heard
Fun.
I've heard of exactly one of those bands.
Yeah,
Before.
that's why I
I've
said
heard of
System
none
a
of
Down, because
them,
I know everyone knows
which is
System of a
probably
I
Down.
have
you know.
I have heard System of a Down before. I have not heard a lot of their music, but I have heard of definitely.
Very popular vocalists. All
Okay.
right, who else has got something?
I hate to admit it, Mom and Dad, I know this is going to be difficult for you guys to hear. I played a MOBA, and I'm so sorry. There was a beta that one of my friends, that Wrestle Ryan, was like, I need people to play this with me, and you are my friend. And so there's he sent me a code for a closed beta that I think it's ended today, so it'll be over by the time that this gets shown, but you should still
On
show your support for it
Tuesday.
because it was pretty good. It was called Evercore by I believe some
Heard that title.
That sounds familiar.
northern European zone, judging by the fact that there were accents that I could not quite place because I'm stupid. But it is a PvPvE MOBA that is, well, not even like PvPvE. It's like, you know how 90% of Gambit is you kill the things fast enough,
Yeah,
and then every so often someone goes through a portal and like the
God,
fun
I wish it was only
stops.
90%. I wish it was 90%.
Well,
Brett.
guess what? It can be 100% in Evercore because Evercore is literally just the competition between 4 teams of who can get a raid done the fastest.
That
and
sounds
I might need
like
to try this
the
game
best.
now, Brett.
Yeah.
You're kind of.
I
Is
I-
this a
Why would
MOBA?
you-
Are you sure it's a MOBA? You said
It
you
looks
call
like a MOBA.
Yes.
I'm looking at images
Yeah.
of it. It certainly looks like it.
I've seen League of Legends before. I know what damn it, I
I've
know what a
seen the
MOBA is.
QWER bindings
Do I
before.
look
This
like
is
I
League
know
of
what a
Legends.
MOBA is? I just want a picture
Um,
of a gosh leaguer.
Oh my god. But yeah, I think I full disclosure, I came out of it with literally no knowledge of what the hell was going on because I have to admit the worst part about the game, the UI is terrible in combat, but they probably already know that because it is very easy to see. But it's just that like mode of do PvE thing better than everyone else is just awesome because you literally just like you just have to follow your friends around and help and then you win because other people are probably in teams made up of randos that have no idea what each other are doing and yeah, but you just have one guy commanding the 3 other people like they're his little peons and then what do you know, the pyramids get built. That's incredible. Yeah,
Sounds
I don't know.
really cool.
Yeah, I would
when
really
asked
recommend.
the question, is the game PvE or PvP? They responded, it's competitive PvE. So you don't interact with the
I
enemy
like
team,
that. I
but
like
you
that.
use
That's what
strategy
Gambit should be.
to create obstacles for the other team or
Yeah.
advantage your own team. Sounds cool.
It's very interesting because you can. Everyone is playing on the same map, like the same objectives. Everything is the same. There's like certain placements of things are different between round to round.
Mhm.
I
So
think
are there different? Are they on different planes, or is it like
They are-
secluded so that you cannot interact person to person with the other team?
they are on different like layers of
Yeah.
reality, and that you can
Yeah.
see different little puffballs that are them moving around. So you can see where like what the other team is doing
Ooh,
and
that's
try
a
to
fun
like plan
aspect of
around
it.
that. So you
That's
could see,
fun.
oh, they're going to do the boss fight right now, but they didn't do the debuff thing, so it's going to take them a while. We're a little bit ahead. Let's go run over and do the XP boost thing because we're going to be able to do that in time or whatever. And then to kind of mirror your like home base being attacked or whatever, they like a team doing something will start like the AI enemies will start wave attacking your home base thing, so you still have to like defend that and stuff. There's still your DPS, your tanks, your healers, all that sort of things. And I was like, at least for me, with again like no MOBA experience at all, I was very impressed that of how complete of an experience it was.
The
There were definitely bugs, but it was very very well made so far.
with not like as you said, being an experienced mobile player, how was it to pick up? How did you find yourself taking to the?
If I did not have Ryan, I would have played one round and stopped. Because again, the UI is so terrible that literally like nothing is readable. There's just numbers and bars on the screen in all these different colors, and the map is there in the bottom corner. It's just all condensed. There's like it's horrible. Apparently, there's like a 10-minute video that explains everything that you can watch. Which like again, this is closed pre-alpha. This stuff is going to get improved upon, which is why I'm not like afraid to dig into it because I'm assuming that they know already. Um, but like at the same time, yes, just like looking at it, it's just a wall of blue, yellow, purple, and green or whatever. And like as long as you have in your brain like, ah yes, I will use the healing ability on the friend that does not have a lot of health. You will probably win because you're not stupid.
Is that how healing abilities in games work? I'm not.
You'd be surprised.
I'm not
Certainly not in
100%.
Gundam.
You'd be oh yes, of course. uh and yeah, I don't know. It's like as long as you're not an idiot, like you can kind of read the context clues. Like I've like I said, I've never played a MOBA before, and I just like I played a tank. I think his name was literally Mage Tank, and I just stuck like glued to someone's back the entire time, buffing them and just like debuffing the guys around them that were the biggest because wouldn't you know it, they do the most damage, and then we won. And they were like, "Wow, are you sure you've never played one of these, Brett? That was the easiest win we've had so far." I was like, "I pressed the W key. Good job." So I don't know. I don't know when the next test for it is. I haven't even looked at the website for it. I just received the code and I played for one sitting for a couple hours in one night. But I would recommend it just to look at because it's always nice to see an indie game be this actually good to make me be like, "Wow, this game mode that I hate was fun."
I think I'd like to put you through that again together when this is open.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
I'll
fun.
take it.
You're gonna make me return to my 10 years of League of Legends.
Oh dear God!
I'm so sorry.
I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Hey, if it's not enemy players, I'm in fully. I'm down for the competitive PvE. Yeah, that sounds like a good time. You got a game, Wyatt?
I do.
We got a game.
I've
son.
already mentioned that I've played this, and if I had known what this week's topic was going to be, I would have saved it as like a surprise for the episode. But regardless, so for the past week, I was in New York visiting a friend, and I went to go see a concert, and it was great. Don't worry, this is all related. But because of where I work, my feet are screwed up and they hurt constantly because I'm constantly walking around and we're not allowed to sit unless we're on break. So that's fun. So there was a lot of downtime and times where we weren't like able to really go out because my feet hurt so bad. So as a way to rest in between our little activities, he decided to sit me down in front of his computer and play Elden Ring and
So
be
relaxing.
my Elden Ring coach and just be like,
You're-
all right, don't worry, I'm gonna get you through this.
Was he
Because
your
boy did I need it.
was he your Elden Ring leader?
Hmm. Appropriate. So for context, I've played about 10 or 11 hours. because that's how much time we were able to scavenge up in between the week. And I'm not going to be able to remember the names of anything, so I'm going to try
That is
and
okay.
lazily describe them. And so hopefully the two people who have played Elden Ring know what I'm talking
The
about.
things in there look pretty distinct. I think it'll be
Right. So I played what's the first class? Like the very basic one that you start off, or role that you start off with. So it's
Probably knight or something.
Knight.
Some vagrant maybe.
What
or
did your
whatever, where
armor
they have a
set
big-
look like?
Yeah, they had like the blue
I
cloth
had-
and the just random
It
plates
was like
everywhere.
white. It was like white cloth with kind of like plate looking armor. It was like that first roll, whichever roll is the first one that you pick when you start the game. That's the one I picked.
Probably just a knight or something. Did
Knight,
you have any
something.
magic at all? Or
No.
yeah, it's just
Okay. Cool. Knight. I was a knight.
go.
And
If you had a
so, yeah,
shield, you were a knight. It gets more confusing.
Yes, I did have a shield.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So yeah, I played about 10.
Oh, but did you have a
11
helmet?
hours.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Did your character have a limp?
How many eyes did your character have? Why, this is an interrogation.
She did have a pink eye patch, for what it's worth. I don't know if that helps you at all. That was a joke. She was an abomination, but I loved her. So again, I played about 10, 11 hours, and it was right before I'd gotten to the Storm Coast. That's how far I got in like the critical path, right? So I did a bunch of side content to kind of like make sure I was leveled up for each like critical path part. My feelings on it are complicated because like breaking it down, did I have fun? Yes. I think the game is very well made. I think it's a very pretty game. I think the build diversity is nuts and insane, and you can make some truly insane stuff with it. Like just the stuff that my friend was describing to me while I was playing it and trying to picture it in my head with the context of having played the game. It was crazy. And like some of the stuff that he had shown me on his own various playthroughs was really cool. What else was I gonna say? A lot of the quests were neat and just had some weird kooky stuff in them. And I like quests that are totally optional but just weird as hell. I like that a lot.
Yep.
I
liked
enjoy
how-
the one where you bring the man shrimp for his soup.
I did not play that one, although I did get Alexander out of his hole, so I did
Good.
get there. I played a quest where this wolf guy was hiding from something, and he was like, "Oh, go fight these wolves in this cave." And then you get like an emote or something or something like that. Oh god, maybe I'm confusing.
Yeah,
dungeons,
you
but-
got him because then he'll start to so close for you.
Yes.
Right.
Lock the
I
monkey
played
in.
I played a couple of the bosses where there's like the little stone snakes with the eyes on them.
Oh no!
The Everjails, yeah.
Everjails, thank you. I did a couple of those. I liked all the little bits of lore that Jess would my friend Jess would tell me as we were playing. So he didn't like spoil specific parts of the game or anything for
As
me.
It's
should.
He
really
was-
hard to spoil a game like Elden
It's
Ring.
yeah.
But it was never like, oh, there's a guy behind this corner or something.
yeah,
He,
yeah.
he didn't do that. It was a lot of like tips on spacing and like when I should light and heavy attack and just like combat technique stuff. And he was also there just for like good moral support, you know. 'Cause sometimes
need
it's
that
good
in
to
Elden
just
Ring.
sometimes it's good to have a buddy. It's good to have a buddy gas you up while you're playing, you know.
It's like I say, never play multiplayer games alone. You will go into a pit of despair.
Right.
Yeah, it does happen.
I played a quest, whatever castle you go to get the claymore, which was by far my favorite weapon that I got throughout the entire game because the claymore
He
kind
is
of
a Souls
slaps.
player. He is a
Oh, yeah.
Souls player after all.
We've hooked them in.
He
There
was
we
all
go.
along.
Just wait till you get this Y-hander.
There it is.
I also got the wolves, the wolves spirit, and they were my beautiful boys, and I loved them, and they really got me out of some tough spots. Let me tell
Some
you.
jams.
They're very good. Yeah.
I did a couple of mines. I did a couple of like boss fights here and there. Fought a couple trolls. Very good. You know, like I never doubted, even before playing it, I never doubted that it was a bad game. Because from everything that I had heard on
You just
like
doubted
almost
whether or
every
not you
benchmark.
would enjoy it. 'Cause
Exactly.
it's antithetical to the games you usually like to play. So
Yes. And it's
I'm
never like, oh, this is objectively bad. It's more, this just doesn't seem like my thing.
I'm very pleasantly
After,
surprised that the butt hasn't come yet.
oh, don't worry. Don't worry.
there will be one.
I'm just so happy
Because
to
I've talked with
hearing you
Ryan
say
about this already.
so much positive stuff that you liked about it.
No, it's a really good game. I had fun playing it. But
There it is.
one thing I asked myself is, would I play this game on my own without my friend Jess right next to me, kind of coaching me through things? And the answer that I eventually came to was no, for a couple of reasons. One, again, it's nice to have a friend gas you up while you're playing, especially with a game that can be kind of punishing at times. It's nice to just have some good moral support. And the other thing is, and I've talked about this with Souls games before in the way that they do story, but it is a form of storytelling that is very interesting where you have to like find you kind of have to find the plot and find the lore for yourself, and it's not really explained to you. You have to kind of put in the work. I think that's a very interesting form of storytelling that does not interest me in any way. Right? And so it's nice to have someone to just talk to. And because like there'd be plenty of times where I'm just playing and we're talking about other things. It's nice to just have that person there that can maybe tell you some cool lore stuff or just talk about whatever while you're playing, because you're not talking to anyone in game. And I kind of bounce off of any game where it's very isolating and it's just kind of you. There's not a lot of people to talk to. There's not a lot of like story driving you forward that isn't just told to you. And that's just the way I like to play games. And so because Elden Ring doesn't have a whole lot of that, it was nice to have someone else to talk to and just chat with while I was playing. That could also help me out with stuff. So I feel like I kind of need Jess or someone adjacent there
You know,
to like
well,
just play through with me to like kind of keep me engaged.
what would be an interesting DLC or down or add-on for the game, because George R. R. Martin was writing lore for this.
Mhm.
What if you had an audiobook accessory that upon doing certain things it had like little paragraphs
A
or stuff
narrator?
that yeah. Oh,
That's
wait,
the
yeah,
wrong
that's
game.
exactly.
That's the wrong game for that, I think.
I would like a developer commentary or something would be cool as an
That would be
optional
cool.
mode. Like you beat the game and you unlock the dev commentary playthrough or something. That'd be a fun like second playthrough unlock.
Yes.
I think it would maybe detract from the atmosphere a little bit. If you're playing Elden Ring and all of a sudden you fight a boss and then some person starts speaking and it's just like
Oh, no,
Godric.
not during, not during it. I'm talking about after the fact. If there's like a quiet moment, but that's not really the case of
Yeah.
how the game is designed.
Yeah. I just don't want to feel like I'm going through like a self-guided museum tour where you like plug the headphones in and get the auto robot voice explaining to you about the historical event.
Oh, I was jazzed when they put that in the Assassin's Creed thing. I just
Oh,
played
well, those
like,
are
the
separate
history of the
modes, though.
museum
If
tour.
it's separate mode, I'm okay with it. If it's a default, I'd be a little bit iffy.
Yeah.
But if it's a thing that you can choose, that'd be fun. Yeah.
So no, I had a lot of fun with the game. I just feel like without my guide, without my coach, I feel like I just would have a significantly less fun. And also, if I were to play it again, like buy a copy for myself, I'd have to do all the same content that I just did again, and that just doesn't. I don't want to go through that again.
You're not a
because I
fan
just-
of
because I
replaying
just played it.
games?
I've talked about this before. If I have to redo something over and over and over again, like in kind of like a single player context, I don't know. It doesn't.
Which is why you like roguelites so much.
Roguelite, that's different. That's different. I knew you were going to say that.
Only a little
It's
bit.
different. It's different.
Hey, just play with a
But-
different build. It'll feel completely different.
That is true.
But
You're
no,
making me
I-
want to get it for PC and boot up some mods. Because, man, I
Oh,
want to try a
God.
mod that lets you summon your summons everywhere and just play a summon build.
The
So-
new patch
Crazy.
just came out, so but
I know.
So, which is
It's
what I
fun.
played. I played like a couple of hours before the patch, and then I played most of my hours like post patch, and didn't notice a difference. But
wow.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot of
they
it was
did
spell
a
related,
PvE
so.
balancing pass of like now they can balance spells separately for PvE and PvP, which is amazing.
Nice.
Yes, a video game of mostly single player content has figured out how to split single player and multiplayer balancing for everything
So
in a
90%
shorter
of spells
amount
no
of time.
longer need to be completely useless.
Exactly. Yeah, they did that, and then almost all of them got buffed like crazy immediately after that got released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Bungie.
So I would say that
Bungie.
my heart has opened up a little bit to Souls likes and to FromSoft games. I think I've taken one step closer to them, but I wouldn't say that I'm like clamoring to play Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne.
Hey,
or
you just
Would
got
you- would
4
you be
more
willing-
Elden Rings until we can have
would
the
you-
Elden Olympics. So
Would you?
That's true.
Wyatt, would you be willing to play through Tunic again, but with either Brett or I over your shoulder?
Mm,
That's
Maybe?
the real test.
maybe.
I still
I
have
don't
Tunic
know.
installed, need to finish it. I haven't gotten
so
much further in it.
And to be
Don't
clear
actually know
too,
that much about
Or
it.
for
My,
pages of the
uh,
manual left?
and to be clear too, my friend has also been like, dude, if you literally just stream the game via Discord, I'll be doing he's a writer, so it's like I'll just be doing other things. I'll have your stream open on my laptop, and we can just keep doing this like
I'll just coach you
remotely.
through
I'm,
it, you
like
know?
I'm down.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Good
Maybe.
Hey,
time.
that's just a good excuse to hang out.
Hey, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe I see the game on a deep sale someday. I'll like, whatever. Well,
I-
try.
I am glad that you gave it a shot.
Yeah.
Because that's the important thing.
Yep.
And I
And
can
I'm glad
say
you didn't
now,
hate it.
Yes,
no,
that too.
I did not. I did not. No, because again, I was always like, I probably won't play it, but this is a very good game. Now, having played it, I was like, yes, this I can confirm. Very good video game.
All right.
All right.
Never play Mortal Shell.
You want to learn to hate yourself? That's how. All right.
No, I just have Destiny. I don't have to pay any money to hate myself. I can just play that.
The funny, I was holding myself back. The way you were talking about the I decided not to talk about it because you're saying you didn't like how all the lore was hidden behind items. If you did say, I was gonna come right in with the so why don't you like it when Destiny does it?
Well, because Destiny does it poorly. That's the difference.
Destiny's got too much going on.
Don't.
See, I love Destiny lore when someone tells me the Destiny lore. As soon as I try to figure it out, I'm like, oh no.
In fact, I did a whole presentation on this in college where you have your like straight up like structured story, you have your FromSoft way of telling stories, and then you have this ugly middle ground. And that is exactly where Destiny lies.
Non-committal grimoire.
It's gotten much better. I will say that the
worst of
seasonal
both
stories
worlds.
recently
Gotten
have been very
phenomenally
good.
better since
Great. So if I go back in, I'll exactly know what's happening, and I won't have to do
You'll know what's happening in the
piles
arc
and
that you're
piles of homework
playing.
to figure it out.
In the arc that you're playing, you won't know what's happening in the other stuff until you get to that. But hey,
much
at
money
least
do I
I
have to pay again
understand
to
the
understand
pirate
what's going
story.
on?
I get the pirate
Okay.
story. I know what's happening.
to understand what's going on up until you play, you don't have to pay anything. There's a little, unfortunately, yeah, it's still a shitty little thing, but they have a timeline and an explanation of what has happened in every yearly expansion and DLC up until
It's like
present.
in the game.
Yes.
Holy crap! We have the technology for that.
We've unlocked it.
Oh my
We hit a
god!
milestone. We got
When
new
did-
tech.
when did we-
There is text on the screen.
We advanced the
Oh
civilization
my
age.
God, that's
All right.
crazy.
There is another game I want to talk about because this is actually the game that inspired this conversation about hidden gems.
Ooh.
I was browsing the Steam page. I like to look at new indie games that come out, and a little thing caught my eye because it had the Metroidvania tag, and I like Metroidvanias quite a lot. And then I saw it was one developer, and they were like, "Oh, he developed this for 14 years," and it's called Ast Libra Revision. This is a game that was in development by one person for 14 years and then got a year of like a professional studio coming in and fixing problems making it better before it releases.
That's kind of cool.
It is one of the strangest things I've ever played because it's very good. This is a game that is very well made, but actively feels out of 2006 because it largely is. That's where it started. And then you get progressively more crazy things, and it gets more and more bonkers, and it's got really fun stuff like you input fighting game moves to use your magic spells,
Ooh.
which is great. And it pauses time when you do that, so you're not stressed out about getting the right input. You can try it as many times as you want. But you get fun magic spells, you get cool Metroidvania stuff, there's tons of weapons with unique movesets. There's crazy cool combos you can do. It's really
But
fun.
I never want to feel pressured to do a quarter circle. I've
The
talked
story
about this
is
before.
takes itself way too seriously. To the
What'd you
degree
say
of,
this game was called again?
Ast Libra, ASTLIBRA revision. It came out this week, actually, a few days ago. I played the demo because I saw this and they put a demo up. I played the demo and immediately bought the game right afterwards because I was so impressed. with
Oh, wow.
it. I was like, oh my god, this is very fun. And yeah, it's very good. The full game is even, I think, a better representation than the demo because you actually have the progression. The demo kind of just starts you with everything and goes, here, have all the toys and play with them and see if you like it, which
Ooh,
is
this
a good
almost-
concept for a demo, but it is bonkers.
This almost looks like it's a little bit more detail. At first I thought, oh, this kind of looks like Brett, what was that one Game Pass game that was the
Deedlit.
the pixel Deedlit? Yeah, this
Deedlit.
reminds me of Deedlit.
I love Deedlit so much. I saw this and was like, this kind of reminds me of Deedlit. Better try it. And yeah, it's been very impressive. It's got a crafting system that is an item in your inventory that you scroll to and use, which opens a book menu, and then you craft from that. You unlock cool things by killing monsters. You get tons of shards. There's like 2 or 3 different skill tree adjacent systems that you use to level up your character, which is very fun. And yeah, it's just a good time all around. It looks very strange in motion because you can tell a lot of the backgrounds in this game are just pictures overlaid onto each other, and that can look very strange. But hey, it works. It gets the point across for a one-person dev team, and the bosses are really
one
cool.
guy.
So I don't begrudge it. And the magic spells are very fun. It's just a game that was super impressive, and I don't know how long this is. It keeps comparing itself to a JRPG where you fight a bunch of gods. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm in the point of you're exploring a town and you have amnesia, of course. So
Of course.
There's an achievement in here called Frog Subjugator. So
I mean, there's like 80-something achievements that are all very creepy, or not creepy, but insane. They all read very crazily. Yeah, it's good, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on here that I don't know what the scope of this game is, and I don't know that I'm fully ready to find out. I think it's going to be very long.
I don't know.
But with the thing that really sold me on this is I'm going to read a Steam review right here, because this is the moment that I was like, this is a game that is special. The top-rated positive Steam review of this is from someone who's played this game for 3 hours, and is titled Proof of Life. This is a titled Steam review called Proof of Life. And he's like, the store page talks about the game. I'm going to talk about something else. Keizo was developed by a solo Japanese developer, Mr. Keizo, for more than 14 years and an extra 1.5 years of refinement done by a professional team featuring the famous artist and founding member of Vanillaware, which also makes extremely good games. So Vanillaware is a
Vanillaware is very good.
Big plus on this. But Mr. Keizo has a daily job and only work on game after he gets back home. It is not easy to develop a video game on your own. 14 years of development is just too long for anyone. However, his love to video games and his will to continue made Keizo come this far. Mr. Keizo has given his all to this game. This game has a subtitle called Proof of Life. As one player commented, it is indeed the proof of life of Mr. Keizo himself. I respect Mr. Keizo with all my heart. I invite you all to join this unique journey of returning to the golden age of JRPGs. Reminder, this is a side-scrolling Metroidvania.
This reads like, does Bruno Mars is gay.
That's awesome.
It is bonkers. The story starts out insane and has not gotten any less insane the more I've gotten into it. Because you just wander the wilderness for 8 years not seeing a single other person and then stumble upon a village. Alright, let's see where this goes. It's bonkers. I am very curious as to how this is going to pan out, but I've had a lot of fun playing it. And I think this is going to be fun for very specific people. Those people being myself and probably Brett.
I have downloaded the demo right now. Listen, every so often, the torch has to get passed from Cave Story to Dust and Elysian Tale. It has to go somewhere after that. And then it sounds like
Mr. Keizo's Proof of Life is...
Yes, Mr. Keizo's Proof of Life, also known as Ass Libra Revision, might be the torchbearer.
And yeah, it's It's a bonkers thing because I think looking at this thing, you go, "Oh, this looks like a Flash game," and yes,
Yes, and
but is that a problem?
Salt and
Alright.
Sanctuary exists, and that game's great.
Yeah.
That game also looks like a Flash game.
Anyone else got a hidden gem they want to talk about?
Not quite hidden, but I don't know when else I'm going to talk about it. But I
Yeah.
want to for a little bit, because I started playing, and I think I'm like halfway through. Scorn started yesterday. Just came out on
Ah.
Game Pass. And it's one of the weirdest games I have played at least in a while, and not at all in a bad way. I've really enjoyed it so far. Almost all the reviews I've seen have been negative or at least like middling,
Aw.
which is
I've
just
seen like
weird.
either wildly positive or really negative.
It's like
depending on the
people will be like, "Ah, yes, I love Resident Evil. However, the combat in this clearly survival horror game is very clunky." And it's like, tell me that first part again, bud. Like what?
Wait, does this have like Resident Evil inventory type
It's a
stuff?
survival horror game.
Oh,
Uh,
I thought it was going to be a shooter like Hellsinger.
So did everyone else. Everyone was very confused about this game because they were very coy about it until
Yes.
it came out.
Go
Go.
ahead.
I will inevitably have longer things to say.
Okay,
So.
okay. The way it's been described to me, which seems to make the most sense from what I've seen, is a walking simulator that has some shooting in it. from time to
Really?
time.
Huh.
That's how it's been described to me.
This feels very. It feels like a. I wouldn't say walking simulator. There are definitely parts where you're just like walking and taking in the atmosphere for like a while, but it does the good horror game thing where that is to build the tension of what's going to happen next. Because there's like it starts and you're immediately in like the most obtuse puzzle in the game so far,
Oh.
and it just expects you to solve it. And once you do, it's like, okay, I understand the playing field. I have taken the walnut man. I have scooped him out of his walnut, and in the process, chopped his arm off to unlock the big door. And that is exactly what happens. You are not getting any context because that's the first puzzle of the game.
I heard there's a
So,
way that you can.
so I'm
get
going
him
to try this, of course. Would you describe it as point and click logic?
You know what? I think I would.
I might
Point
still
and
be
click.
into this game.
Point and click logic in a completely dialogueless first person like kind of shooter, because you do shoot things. But I was reading up on it a little bit. Apparently the dev team is from Serbia, which I did not know about, even
Oh.
though I've known of this game for a while.
Love seeing
This
games
is
from different places.
exactly. This is their first game, which is crazy for one that is this like polished. And even all the way back when it was first getting made in like 2015 or something,
Oh,
the devs were very clear that the feeling that we want people to have is just being dropped into a world where they have no idea what the hell anything is, and as such, that world is its own character. And I think if
Nice.
that is the single thing they strove, that's a word now, to do in this game, they absolutely succeeded. Because I have no idea what is going on. I don't even think I'm going to be told ever, but I like that because it is so weird that I'm going to keep going. It's done so many things that are like that is just like mean spirited from a developer standpoint. Like it is far more on the survival side of survival horror, where like every single shot matters, every single health refill thing matters. If you could totally screw yourself by like using up all of them before you get to an encounter, and then you're just boned, and I don't even know what happens at that point. But so I'm low on ammo, and I need thing from gun to shoot creature that will just like bull head down, horns forward, just kill me in one thrust, basically.
Wow. How long to beat? 4 hours. Really?
It's not very long if you know how to like go along with the
5-hour
puzzles.
completionist. My God.
It feels like the kind of game that you wouldn't want to be playing for longer than about 4 or 5 hours, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Definitely. But so I'm looking for ammo to kill this thing, which is just like a semi-normal enemy at this point. So I'm always afraid that I will run into another one on the way to get ammo to kill the one that I already know is there when I don't have one. So I go down this long, narrow hallway, and at the end of it, I see, yes, ammo refill station. So I grab it, put the funny, weird goop pellets into the flesh gun, and the others get stored in the inventory. Cool, awesome. I turn around and start going down the hallway.
Oh no.
One of those things that wasn't there spawned and is running at me. Oh god, I need to switch weapons, which is like a 3-second long animation of me bringing up and switching the front of it. So I go to run back to the corner that was at the other end of the hallway, and another one spawned there too because they knew that was going to happen.
Nice.
So I'm like, okay, Scorn. And that, I know that's happening now, so I switch to the shotgun before that happens and just kill the other one with the ammo I just got. But things like that, where it's just like, you just jerk. You're just such an asshole. But I think they're more funny than extremely frustrating. But I don't know, maybe I have a different sort of stomach for that kind of thing than game reviewer number 5 million does. But I don't know. That's honestly, I don't know how much this game is without Game Pass. But
like 40, 45
30,
bucks.
40, yeah.
Just for, even though it's so short, I'm not even done with it yet. But just for the atmosphere, nothing else is like it at all.
Yeah.
It is so weird. I had like a it's not a Strand type game, but I had a Death Stranding moment where I was in a big outside area and I was like, these rocks look amazing. Like, whoa, because the Death Stranding rocks on the ground look really good because Horizon Engine. But I don't know, just the weird biopunk graphical style. If you are in there for some atmosphere, even if, like Alex said, you just want to have a point and click-esque time, I think this is equally full of nightmare logic and equally obtuse and weird that it's just like that, except you are in a first-person view.
I feel like this is a good game to play on
downloaded.
Halloween. This might be my
Oh,
Halloween game.
For sure.
It seems like whenever I look at gameplay, promotional, whatever for this game, I'm like, whatever look that HR Geiger look they're going for, they've absolutely nailed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I want to play in that world for longer than like half an hour because I just I
don't blame you.
And like that's nothing on them because they've clearly nailed what they're going for. I don't think I could handle it for longer than like half an hour.
I've got 2 words for you: baby paste. And that is in the game. So whatever you want to think with that information, that is a way that you solve a puzzle in the game. And it's pretty awesome.
Grossest point and click ever. Oh
Listen,
god.
listen, saying the words baby paste in almost any context is not a good thing to say.
I know.
You know?
I know.
I can't wait for this to download. Oh my god.
I want to know what you think of it. It's been pretty
wow.
interesting so far.
Wow.
All right. Anything else? We've had a good amount of time though, so if there's nothing else, we'll move on to shoutouts. But if there is, we got some time to talk about it.
We've talked about Overwatch 2 already, but I wanted to bring it up briefly again because it does.
A hidden gem.
Not a hidden gem, but a game I didn't think that I was like, okay, Overwatch 2, I'm gonna play it for a bit, it's Overwatch, and then be done with it. That hasn't been the case at all. I've had a consistent 5 stack for like the past week and a half, and we have such a blast playing this game. I'm like so excited whenever we can get everyone together for like a full team and play. Quite honestly, like I love all the new heroes. All the new maps are great. The new mode is great. The way everyone's balanced this time around is fantastic. Monetization, all that garbage sucks, and I hate it. But if I'm just looking to play a fun hero shooter with 4 other friends, man, it's such a good time. Like we've played to the wee hours of the morning because we are we work really well together, and like it plays so well. When everything's clicking, it plays so well. And like my interest for it has not waned at all, and I've been playing it like fairly consistently recently. I just the way they balance things is great. I think the move from 6v6 to 5v5 really like freshened everything up and makes it feel kind of like a different game sometimes, and goddamn, it is a fun video game to play.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we're at the end of the show. We'll be back next week, but for now, it's time for shoutouts.
Shout out to a.
You spoke.
I guess, yeah. Shout out to a hairstyle that I've been researching for modeling purposes called the fishtail mohawk.
Oh. Okay.
One of the strangest shoutouts that we've.
Not
shout out
surprised.
Shout out to the little rock snake things in Elden Ring, which apparently nobody knows what they are. There's like no
Worms.
lore associated with them whatsoever, and I find that very
Just the
fascinating.
things that make the Everjail, you know?
They are
Mm.
horrifying.
And they're kind of horrifyingly adorable in their own way, and I just find it so fascinating that there's like this game that has bits of lore on like every single mechanic and every single blade of grass in the entire world. There's just nothing. There's
Wait,
nothing
have
about
you-
these guys whatsoever. I find it
You-
fascinating.
You haven't run into the Indiana Jones ball yet, have you?
No, he's far too early for the
No.
Indiana Jones
Yeah,
ball.
the Indiana Jones ball is a late game. At least
that's the late game.
Late mid game.
Yeah.
No Indiana
That
Jones
thing's
balls for you.
hilarious.
What a shame. I'll go ahead and give mine out to the fact that there's an Assassin's Creed game that's like a mainline game that I didn't know existed called Assassin's Creed Rogue. I just didn't know this was a real
Huh?
game. Like
You didn't know it was a thing?
I didn't know Rogue was a thing.
Oh.
So I found that, and all the Assassin's Creed games were on sale, so I picked it up because it's another pirate Assassin's Creed. But you play a guy that is an assassin who turns Templar,
Oh.
which is a cool concept. And apparently this was like a sister game to Assassin's Creed 4 or something when it came out, but this was like the last gen game. And 4 was the one fully
2014.
developed for the new one. So weird thing. I just didn't know this existed because I guess they didn't advertise it. But it's a full
Whack.
Assassin's Creed game in the older style that I haven't played, and that makes me very excited. Because now I can play an older Assassin's Creed game and hopefully have fun.
The marketing and release section for its Wikipedia page is the shortest I've ever seen.
Oh no.
It's one that neither Ubisoft or fans really care about. It is
Yeah.
not. It is not that.
Oh, there's a lot on reception.
Yeah, I'm very
Huh.
curious.
You.
And it's a fun looking game. All right. Brett.
Shout out to My Rock Gundam Evolution for
Going
lasting every night, throwing the Ashmar fireball at new people and watching them disintegrate in real time, and people still not figuring out what to do about it.
Just walk away.
Dodging out of
That's
the way
the
doesn't
secret.
work.
Walk away.
It's incredible how good of a strategy walking away is when there's a thing that needs to be walked away from coming at you with no way of shooting you and only a big hammer and like no health. It's incredible how easy it is to kill
walk away.
Barbatos. It's incredible.
You can kill
Uh,
Barbados with that?
Because
Oh,
he
yeah,
just can't
it's-
walk towards you. He has to walk away.
I would
No.
just because I get my sick kicks out of watching Barbados die. Could you send me a few
Oh,
clips of
we
that?
all do. Yeah. It's a
Well, it's
shared
you
passion.
see,
Screw
you see
Barbados.
Barbatos isn't the problem anymore. It's the melee Zaku now. Who imagine
Oh, Tracer, the Tracer of Gundam Evolution.
No.
he has
Melee Zaku
he
is
has
not Tracer.
The little
he has
green guy?
1200. No,
There's
melee Zaku.
There's two Zaku
That's
2s.
Zaku
Oh.
ranged. Imagine that, but with a big axe that fires projectiles out of it with infinite ammo and no cooldown. An ability that makes you stand still and receive 0 damage from anything in the game, and it has 1200 health. I finally because
Oh,
I've had him.
the guy that I unlocked a legendary skin for, but not the actual character.
Yes.
That one.
That'd
I
be the
tried
one.
him for the first time because I was like, this character literally doesn't seem you have to try to be good as him. And I played one round as him, and I was like, for a second, I was like, oh, this ability kind of sucks a little bit. And then I realized it was the same thing as the Gundam Hammer, and then I was like, yeah, you really don't have to try as this character to win because you could just clear the whole other team off the board. And they need to do
Oh,
something about it.
God.
But other than that, good job, good game.
Very fun. I need to play more of it. I haven't had a lot of time lately, but man, that game is very enjoyable.
I
With
got
that-
better. I like Suzubi. Suzubi.
Suzubi.
I you've heard me call that guy up
Oh,
there.
this is Suzubi.
Grease.
No, we'll be back next week. It's AM Eastern Time with the podcast platform of your choice, as always.
Yeah.
Let Ask Libra be your proof of life.
Yes.
God.